I was thrown into the arena, standing across from a one-eyed giant. The size gap and strength difference were massive. Everyone figured I was done for, but I did not draw my sword and go at him head-on. Instead, I leaped onto the giant's back and ripped out the control device. The giant snapped back to his senses, let out a roar, and charged straight at the tyrant's viewing stand. The crowd went absolutely wild, cheering for me, because I was the first person to ever flip the whole arena upside down. People call me the god of war, me and my horse Windblade. Have always called this forest home. Every day I make my way to the waterfall, kneel down and pay my respects to the goddess statue. On this particular day, right after I finished praying, I went to grab Windblade and head out, but he suddenly nudged me with his head and shoved me right into the river. He must have sensed something was off. Sure enough, hoofbeats came rumbling in from a distance. A band of bandits came riding in. They were out hunting large animals. They slaughtered a unicorn and sliced off its horn. I stood there looking at the dead unicorn, and I was absolutely furious. I followed the trail the bandits left behind, jumped on Windblade, and took off after them. We rode all the way to the edge of a cliff where I spotted a castle down below. I waited until nightfall, then quietly slipped inside. Turns out the place was a military camp. Soldiers had been dragging all kinds of wild animals out of the forest and locking them up in cages. There was also a massive arena inside the castle. I watched soldiers beating the caged animals with clubs, and I just could not take it anymore. I was going to get those animals out of there. The soldiers thought I was just some ordinary woman, but I took care of them pretty fast. Right as I was about to unlock the animal cages, a blade pressed up against my throat. I spun around and went at the person immediately. I got my arm around the woman's neck, and right at that moment, King Dragon showed up with his soldiers. They grabbed me. Windblade tried to break through and save me, but ended up getting captured too. I was hauled over to the area next to the arena, a place reserved for death row prisoners. Turns out this was Dragon's research base. His people had developed a magnetic field device. The thing packed an enormous amount of power. Dragon could use it to take control of other creatures, and then weaponize them to destroy his enemies. The prisoners told me the only way out of this place was to fight your way through every opponent in the arena. The next day the arena matches kicked off. I was set to be sent in. The soldier handing out weapons tossed me a set of armor. The thing offered basically zero protection. It was just there because the crowd ate it up. I had no choice. So I strapped on the armor and got ready. What we were about to face was the massive one-eyed giant. Dragon grabbed the controller and activated the device on the giant's back, which sent the giant into a complete frenzy, attacking everyone in sight. The prisoners were getting picked off one by one. I kept my eyes locked on the giant, and finally spotted the device strapped to his back. A plan clicked in my head instantly. I drove my longsword into the ground, pulled out 2 short blades, then launched myself onto the giant's back. I drove the short blades into his back and yanked that control device clean off. The giant froze on the spot. He came back to himself. I shouted up at him,
"You are free! I am not your enemy! There is your enemy!"
And he got the message in an instant. He let out a thunderous roar, then barreled straight toward the king's viewing stand and smashed the whole thing to the ground. A lot of people in the stands got crushed under the rubble. Dragon himself was knocked to the ground. His soldier Jimai pulled him up and got him out of there. I saw the outer wall had been busted open, and immediately told every prisoner to make a run for it, but I could not leave just yet. I had to go find my horse Windblade.